You are, I'm going to share the screen now as well. Okay, everyone, welcome to this session. We're going to talk about how to build, agents. But before that, there are a couple of announcements and discussions you would want to have. So there are, lots of resources, lots and lots and lots of resources. But I started with this, with recommendation, from Haas and one professor from Cornell. It could be a little bit, confusing if you start from here. You could also, take the deep learning.ai, course specifically on agentic, AI. It's less technical, heavy, but there is a lot of um, instruction or explanation of some of the, frameworks, and tools. So first announcement is that there is a hackathon, going on from July 7th, I think next week, to July 13th. It's fully remote. And I think it'll be great if, everyone participates in this, hackathon. So the only caveat is that there are, spots for 500 participants across the world. And I think, with the interest in, Claude, Science and Claude code and all other things, it will be oversubscribed. I mean, I have applied, but I would want everyone to, really apply. There are two tracks: the builders track, where you build tools that would outlive, the hackathon. And then there is also the other track, which is, basically the research track. So what you're doing is that you would, take some of these, data sets that have been provided. For example, there is a data set on T cell, Perturb-seq, from CD4 cells, right? So we take, CD4 cells, they are immune cells, and then the sort of like knockouts, genes, several genes, under different conditions from, I think, 3 donors, and they try to see at a very global level what are the pathways, what are the pathways implicated in this, cell, type. So the goal is to find new drug, targets. And before we started this meeting, I was even asking Claude back and forth at a high level, how do you find drug targets from Perturb-seq data? Because I haven't done it before. So then there is also another, track. Sorry, there's also another research question on, DNA try to predict regulatory, activities from, pull out, labs data. There's also one, the use of, protein interaction, networks to uncover new, biology, identify complex pathways, and so on and so forth. My opinion is that this will involve, multiple tools, and you could also use, Claude Science to sort of like reason about, the steps, or even Claude Code to really reason about the steps and use, Claude Science to implement it. I will show you Claude Science in a moment as well. So I am sure everyone here has access to, oh, all right. All right, so I'm sure everyone here has access to, Claude Code. If you don't have access to Claude Code, please see him free. There is a subscription and everyone should have access to, okay? So, there was this thing, Claude Science announced, I think, this week. So basically, I find it's, very similar to, Claude Code, all right? So I'm going to open Claude Code here also. This is Claude, there's the code, there's the, sorry, this is Claude Code. This is, the Claude desktop app, right? Which has Claude Code, Code, and, the chats, that's it, right? And this was the question I was, trying to ask, from a very high level, the computational biologists, how do you use, these data sets to find drug targets? And is it even possible? And how does it differs from traditional approaches of really targeting the, 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 the cell types or the cell of origin of the disease, as well. Right. So, but then you could also, get access to Claude Science. So it's an application that you download. I've forgotten how I downloaded it, but I'm sure if you go to Claude Science and try to download it, you could get it. Right. Then you install it. So it runs on your machine. So here is an analysis that I've been trying to do. It's a data set, a very confusing and challenging research in the projects that I've been trying to do for the past few years. And I've been, for the past few days, just trying to use the tool to, see whether I can find new lines of evidence. There are some things that I may be missing, and so on and so forth. All right. So let's say you want to, start a new project, just like how we want to, create um, sessions with a Claude desktop, or maybe like in a Claude code on the desktop, you go to new, and then you could really, decide how to really attach your files. Right. So if you have, some files here, you could attach them, and that's it. You could also, okay, all right, that's fine. But then the beautiful thing about this is that you could also connect this to, cloud services, maybe like Modal. I haven't used Modal myself, but Modal gives you, GPUs and I think, CPUs that you can use for your research, right? And they're receiving a promotion, going on, where you could get free credits to, try out some research in projects, as well. And you could also connect it to some model endpoints. So Claude is a model. ChatGPT, what really powers it, it's a model, right? So there is, GPT, now GPT 5.6. I'm not sure a lot of people have access to it. Fable 5 is a model. Sorry, so Fable 5 is a model. 4.8 is a model, right? So the NVIDIA BioNemo Nemotron is also a model which you could also connect to. One interesting thing I all right, thank you. So one interesting thing I've also found is that you could also connect it to your cluster. Right. So if you have some cluster assets.
Sam, is this the Claude Science or Claude Code?
Coming in?
Is this the Claude Science interface or
No. So this is the Claude Science. And you could change the model. Right. So this is the Claude Science, which is a little bit different from the Claude
Code?
Code.
Oh, the regular Claude.
So this is Claude Code, right? Which comes in addition to, the Claude charts, the co-work, when you download the Claude desktop. I hope I'm not losing you. And then there is also Claude Code in your terminal, right? So, this is Claude Code working in my terminal. I've already installed it. All right, so if I do, let me just get out of here. Trying to make like a very, trying to make like a folder. I can test it this way. Right? So I'm going into this folder, and I'm going to launch, Claude here. Okay. Okay. Right. So this is the command line version of Claude Code. Right. And you could also have access to Claude Code on the desktop app. Right. Then you could create a new session, by clicking here. However, with this, what you could do is to basically run, on the cloud, and to, also set up, remote control. I think this SSH may be a new feature. So you can connect it to your cluster. if your cluster allows you to do things like passwordless authentication. Um, okay, all right, sorry. Any questions in the case? I'm free, Kate. Any other questions? All right, so
So Sam,
yeah.
a quick one. So please pardon me. I would want to plead with you to kindly do a little bit of maybe beginner level, intermediate, like at the same time, because we have some people joining us for the first time, and then we would want to carry them along. So I'm pleading with you if you can maybe combine the intermediate demonstration and even vocabulary with the
Okay.
beginner level.
Okay, all right, I can do that. All right, so let me take one step back. Okay. So there is something called you know an AI, or like a chat, like an AI, right? Modern AI. What my mom knows about, probably not, but what, like, the individual I meet on the street may know about this, either ChatGPT or Claude.
Sam, can I stop you for a second? Do you have maybe a quick demo of how you use Claude Science, like from scratch, like saying, I want to do this study, I'm uploading these files, I'm doing this, now see what it can be, what it can do.
So
Because I feel like a lot of the term, sorry, Alex, I think AI and all the stuff are really nice, but in the end of the day, if you see what it can do, you will figure out better kind of all this concept, because it's
okay,
more it's very how do you call it, plug and play or whatever they call it.
okay,
So I feel like take a paper saying, okay, I
okay,
want to replicate the paper. I gave it to Claude, and now see what he's doing. Stuff like this.
okay. All right. I think this is a good challenge. Okay, so why don't we take the example, like there is data, right? And I'm sure people may want to, work on this during the hackathon. Okay, so there is data. This is a paper. This is the preprint, right? It is CD4 T cells. I don't really know the research questions. Um, this is the repo, and I guess we'll be able to access the data through. We'll be able to access the data maybe through some, but let's see, right? Okay. I'm gonna copy this, and this is Claude Science. If you download it and you click on it, it opens an interface like this, right? Now it asks me to sign in. So I'm just going to sign in. And because I already signed in, I didn't have to type in my username and password. Oh. Now, if you look here, it says local host, meaning it is running on the computer. However, you could change where you run it, or you could specify where you run it and tell it to maybe run on your cluster, or make it run on a remote computer or so. Or you can even connect it to Moda, which is sort of like a platform where you could rent GPU
So,
to do
Sam,
your analysis.
Okay, sorry guys, I'm just trying to help because I saw the demonstration of another course scientist last week, and I think just show them that you plug the paper and give the prompt and show them what it can do. Instead of after this, you can explain
Okay, all right.
because I think for newcomers, it's more important to see demonstration of the concept.
Okay, all right. So we're starting a new project, okay? So click new projects. We're gonna call it T-cell. Whatever. Okay. I don't really know the details, of this, projects. But it's gonna be, find new targets for this resource.
How the time travel happened.
Agents, context. Maybe there are some things I want to put in, but I don't really have the context because this is new. So I'm just gonna create. Now I'm gonna try if I can download, the paper. I'm gonna download this paper.
You can also try to give the link.
I can also try to give it. Yeah, that's kind of.
But there are lots of pages that you're gonna have the scrolling mode.
So I'm gonna take the link instead of downloading the paper. And then I'm gonna say, this is the link.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, they want, yeah.
All right, so this is the link to resource I want to have a new biology,
Yeah.
from. Possibly find new drug targets because that is the goal of the hackathon, right? Find new drug targets in this resource, right?
No, but you told me it's good, yeah.
Okay, so you please access the data, make three
I mean, as in like.
concrete
Watching it.
objectives
So that's good.
and a plan and run the analysis.
That's so great, like.
You can, okay, then afterwards, write a paper, right?
Yeah, you can start with analysis. I think it's don't kill it. Yeah.
Okay,
So there.
okay. And then, I could change, I'll just say go, and let's see. It'll ask me for some permissions, and all this kind of thing, but let's see.
I do know that.
Okay, so maybe you could do, me the, studio.
You have a group.
Okay. So it's trying to read and understand the data. Voice the data, because I didn't give it the data, right? So it's trying to see whether I could access the data.
Okay. You completely missed this. Yeah, where? Okay, so.
Okay, so where's the results?
So the agent is now reading the paper, try to figure out where the data that was used in the paper,
Right.
and now the agent or this software want to try to download the data.
Cannot find the data actually.
I think I started it, but I wasn't like that.
So I think it's looking for the data. So for this, the projects, I'll just say no allow. Someone has a question? Sorry.
Yeah. So I, were you, I, no, okay, yeah.
So remember, I don't know how much you have, the team has experience with looking for data, downloading, installing the software from papers. Claude Code now can take a paper and do it for you. And I don't know about Claude Science because I did, but I use another agent. I get my old papers and they just did my paper. They download all the data from my paper. I didn't say anything. It was located it was public data. It was taken, it downloaded it by itself without me asking or my intern asking. And in addition, we wanted to use the same concept to adapt it to another problem. And,
Okay.
and the agent did it. So
Wow. Wow.
in some sense, work that will have taken to an intern to do 3 months was done in one afternoon. So,
Wow.
so this is one of the revolutions that science that all these agents are going to give you. It will make you super scientist, basically.
Just trying to see if we could download the data.
Oh, God, and that's crazy. Yeah. Oh, I had what you end up watching.
So while
In data, it's like one of the bottlenecks of like the type of research that we do. Like,
and in addition, you, me, and everyone can learn actually good best practices of our tackling because even ignore this software that does all of this. You can also actually learn from how it thinks and
yeah,
how it looks for things, how it's looking on the GitHub branch so it's very it can be a good mentor for all of us
yep.
of
Teaching
from
us a
the
lot.
perspective of ninja. Sam, think about if you had agent when you came to my lab, how your life would have been easier.
Oh
So
my gosh, the number of things probably could have done. All right, so connect to virtual cell. Let's allow for now. So I think one beautiful thing is that now the connectors for some of this data repository.
Sam, you just allowed, he didn't read.
No, I know it's trying to get access to AWS buckets. I hope it's free though, because I don't have money to pay them.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So,
I think I wish I could just download the data for it to work.
okay.
no, Sam. This is part of the with the demonstration.
Start
Like
a demonstration.
yeah, we need to. I just want you to see what it already does, kind of, I don't know, large percentage of the work that you needed to do anyway.
Wow.
So am I seeing 1.7 terabytes?
Yep.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, I think this study is a bit big because of the amount of data.
So this
But
study was what?
this study is single cell usually have huge large files. So you need a local storage or you need to have another way to store it. But a lot of our studies are usually need less data.
Okay.
And I think a good demonstration for the lab is Alex or everyone, just take your kind of studies that you did already and tell it, oh, can you recreate all the figures in the study? Can you, if they have the data, if they have access to the data. So
Right.
I think just to show what it can do, it will kind of blow your mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you can start thinking. Because I feel like when the only way to understand agents is just to
It's just
walk.
feel it. And to watch them do it.
Yeah, and watch that. Yeah. And troubleshoots. But this is where the field is going. Okay.
I also like the interface as well. Like,
Oh, what's going on now? Yeah.
yeah, so it's giving me a plan.
Yeah.
All right. So this is objective 0, objective 1. I'm just specifically go last.
Sam.
Yep. So this is the 3 objectives it's giving me.
Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I want to chip in something before we continue. Some people are joining. So briefly, what I want to say is that what we are doing currently is we saw a paper online, and Sam gave it a link to the AI for the AI to study the paper, and then the AI went ahead to study the paper, it's extracting the data, and
Yeah.
it's even giving us ideas on certain things that were done there. So based on this,
New ideas.
yes, new ideas on things we can even explore. So based on this, what we are trying to establish here is that you can get a paper, copy the link or the DOI or whatever it is that can be linked to the paper, give it to the AI agent. The AI agent is able to retrieve the paper, extract every information relevant in that paper, and
Yeah.
any access any data that has been generated in relation to that study. If it is publicly available,
Yeah, that is
the AI can retrieve the data and then it can reanalyze the data, generate Pax was talking about the reanalysis to generate the very figures that were used or the very results that were used in that paper. And probably if you want to go further and explore other objectives or ideas, I think the AI is able to do that for you. So that is what we've done so far. And then Sam, please, you can take it from there. I think I just wanted to get everybody up to speed because most of the time people say they don't really get what we are doing. And then I feel like um, this is a whole lot of good things that we can explore as individuals and even as a lab. So I just want everyone to be at the same level. Thanks.
Yeah, and Sam and Alex, you can also say, okay, I like this objective, but I also want you to do give that. I didn't read that paper, but you can say like objective 3 is mechanistic druggable target for autoimmune risk disease. You can say I want for infection disease. So find me and then you can write it. Like you can write to the in the prompt you can type like I wanted another objective to discover targets for Actually, I don't know the field, but infectious disease, I don't know what even you ask in this field, but related to mechanism, yeah.
Yeah. That's really good. I think the objectives are also very good.
So now,
So Sam, I'm thinking about something. We have we have Prof. Quatin's undergrad students on the call now. Some of them are on the call.
Really?
They are doing, yeah, some of them are
Yeah, projects.
doing, yeah, they're doing single cell analysis of different types of cancers.
Okay.
So, and then we got them some data.
Wow, that's great.
So I'm just thinking about it right now, based on the accession numbers we gave them to retrieve the data for their single cell analysis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking they could just give the accession number to the AI agent that retrieve the data and analyze this for this particular project.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we told them to come up with a title, aim, and objectives. If they're able to provide the aim and objectives, I think the AI could have analyzed everything for them.
Yep.
It would have put together maybe a draft of the thesis or manuscript for them. And yes, I think this could have even been easier for them. But then learning the skills, I think, is very important. Yeah, Joshua.
Well, I guess that also begs, the question, that if like what is the angle for innovation and edge? And I think, like Paz mentioned a very important point, customization to, local, problems. Like, this is great for autoimmune, disease. I'm sure if there is like a population level diagnostics, you'll find a lot of people in Ghana with autoimmune disease, but I think the highest disease burden, it's, more infectious disease. So how do we really customize this to really solve the problems that are happening like right now? You know? And I guess so that goes back to the main question. It's like, what is the edge? How do you nudge the AI to really give you value for time? And value for investments in terms of money. Yeah.
I think there's a play.
Well, it's downloading the 16 gigabyte data. By the way, Ben got me a new computer now, so that's how I'm able to download 16 gig worth of data on the laptop.
Yeah, I think it will be good, Alex, if they can join this hackathon that Sam mentioned. I think if they can be until it's very late hours, I know, but it can change. It can change the career just to spend a week like that. It's horrible hours. Maybe there is hackathon in Europe, but
Yeah, I mean, I feel like even if you
hours are not
think you should.
normal. Like it's 12. It will be very late in Ghana, but I think it's opportunity.
Yeah, I think so. Humphrey, what do you think? I think we could do like a small, section, even if we are not selected, do like a small section where we come together every day, divide ourselves among groups, and target each of the questions, right? I think the biggest bottleneck is the model and the subscription, which you now have. Well, you might not get the recognition of being like the winner, or the best, at the end of the day. But I think the value is that you are able to solve, like using latest technologies to solve like very current and relevant, problems. And I think, as Paz was saying, this will be, very huge. And then, we can even broadcast it, um, and, probably get more support for tokens.
So,
Yeah,
Sam,
that's something.
you met the person that is in charge of Claude Life Sciences. You met already Colsman Harbor, the person who created.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Can you text him or try to reach out to him?
Yeah, I reached out to him concerning Claude in MSK, but I think I can also reach out to him concerning like a virtual hackathon in Ghana.
No, that I can join the one that is going on next week.
Okay. With Finn. So I think Finn is going to present next week. So that's great.
Sorry, you said that next week. Sorry, guys, that you have to listen to all of this. You said that next week there is hackathon for 1 week by Entropic.
Yeah.
Can the team members here can register to the hackathon and be part of it?
The team members should register and should be part of the hackathon.
Yes.
You know,
So put the link in the chat so they can register.
but then it's only 500 participants, but I think we should try. And what I'm trying to say is that even if we don't get in, we should participate.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you can reach out to this Jonas and write him.
Come again?
If people don't manage to log in, you can write to this guy from Anthropic and see and tell him that there is a team of researchers in Ghana that want to join, and I think Anthropic will love it because they want to democratize science. So what is better than so people try to register. See if you can register. If not, tell Sam, and then Sam can try to contact the person in Anthropic, the creator of Claude, to get access.
Right. And you could use maybe like GF17, GF18, like the entire sections. I don't know if you have classes, but I think it would be great if like you come together physically and divide divide the work among yourselves, and we try to see if we could solve it. Because Humphrey, remember, you also have access to both, right?
Yeah.
I have access to both. Yeah.
Yeah, you have access to both, and Philo, like with some credits, $700. So I think this will be a really great time to showcase how we can really push the limits of these tools.
Yes.
We got some money.
Hopefully.
Initiative of Humphrey, so that's great. All right, it's still running, still trying to download. Let's see, what's it done to?
Campaign after you hire, right? You're talking to everybody when you talk to all of those stuff.
So this is the code it's using to download. Oops, only 1%. Yeah, so I mean, as you can see, like you could also be bottlenecked, by internet. And I was wondering, like, are you going to use like the LAN cable, especially for the team in Ghana? Or are you going to rely on the Wi-Fi?
So I think Sam, thank you very much, and
Oh, Dr. Kwati, I
thank
didn't
you
know
for.
you were here.
Yes, I've been there since the beginning
Oh
of
my
the
gosh! Thank God I didn't say
platform.
anything evil.
That's okay. So we have the cables, and we can also support with the table net. So whichever be okay, will be fine. But I think in terms of internet, we should be good. We shouldn't have much problems,
Okay.
unless it's a general problem beyond our control. But otherwise, we should be fine.
Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Oh, okay.
We are still waiting for it. But then as we wait, I wanted to also make this quick announcement. So access to the Code Spring Hub or AI in Biology ends on August, I think 4th or August 14th. Like if you want to watch some of this videos. Oh, sorry, that's shameless plug. But if you want to watch some of this videos, for example, by Jennifer. This was introduction to BioHub. I mean, the entire conference is here. Then you have the credentials as well. So access is until August 4th. If you have some time, please check it out and see if you can learn one or two things.
Okay, well, I'm excited to be here.
Okay, sorry. And then yeah, so that's the other announcement I wanted to do. So you go back.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so is it really going to rewrite the code now? Gosh, what did I ask it to do? Okay, so sorry guys, I wanted to help, and then it looks like Claude needs to do some rewriting of the code because we asked it a new objective that it didn't have before, so it's now rewriting the code for the new objective. So my mistake.
No, I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's
No, it's a mistake for
that is how you do
live demo.
That's how you do the science, right?
Yeah.
You get new ideas, you change it, you add things. But I think it's still trying to download the data.
Yeah.
Still trying to download the data.
You can tell it continue with the old plan, so it will stop. So at least the people will see. So I think everyone. So does everyone have kind of Claude credits for like that they can try to do their own projects? Like my suggestion to everyone is, if you have Claude Science access, you have some project that you are doing in the lab that involve bioinformatics, just ask it to do it for you and see what you get. If you are happy with the results, are you happy with what it does? Especially the more things that look like more complicated, more kind of things that that it will take you a long time to do. Just try to see if Claude can help you. But okay, now it's back to. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in a public, cafe also, so I don't have the best internet.
No, it's it still need to do some thinking. Like it does a lot of thinking. It's not it tries stuff. It tried to connect. It doesn't work. It tried a different approach. So it does all these trial and errors that we usually do when we are trying to download data.
Yeah. Oh, wait, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, not exactly, yeah. But like, sort of that would be like, yeah. After the production, yeah.
So I think it's trying to take like a subset of the data set. Due to the long time it will take to, finish downloading the data. So I want to bring up, this thing, as well, is that, I mean, it is very normal to take a subset of the data set and then, do initial analysis and then like afterwards, scale. But, that's also something you have to always remember to, make sure that the final results is with the actual full scale, data set. Um, um, so like you have a table with maybe 1 million rows. It might take like a lot of, compute, storage and resources to process 1 million rows. I think what a human would do is to just take like, a sample of the data set, maybe narrow it to maybe 1,000 rows and run the analysis, make sure it works, and then, scale, if, things, work. And I think that's the same thing or similar thing, it may, do if we keep on, hitting this, downloading the roadblocks. And what I'm trying to, say or explain is that we need to make sure that at the end, it uses the full data sets, um, you know, or reruns it on the full data sets for us to get like the insights that we are looking for.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Sam, please, is it possible to touch on briefly about maybe the presentation theory aspect of the agents, which is supposed to be today's activity, while we wait for this to run? Is it possible? I think you are muted, Sam. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I was saying it's all part of today's activity. No, it's very, very good. But, as we, wait for it, we could also talk about some theory, as well. So I think, one of my goals was to sort of like normalize some of the, terms or the loose, terms that is used in the field and, help you make, some decisions when you are tasked, with building agents. So help you create a mental model like things. So how
Water.
you, okay, can I make this big?
You're my app. Yeah.
So how do we use, AI now, right? So there is the, chat box, chat, bot or chat box, which is, just, ChatGPT, chatgpt.com or Claude.ai. That's the, website version. There's the desktop, version as well, which is, this, right? So this is my chat. There's schoolwork integrated with it. And then, there's, Claude Code also integrated with it. So this is the application. that I download, from the web. And I can, use it. And then there is also the command line, version. Right. So at the terminal, you could type, Claude, and it opens like a new session for you, and then you could start working. So you could say maybe do something and it's to do it here. All right. So these are the use cases of it. There is also the harness, which is Claude Code. And then you can use it programmatically, API. All right. So you need an API key, and then you string along some Python code to be able to ask questions and answers from the LLM, either OpenAI, either from OpenAI or from Anthropic, using their models. So why do we need agents? And I think this is a really good example of why we need agents. All right. So I think modern AI, I mean the chat box has some elements of agentic capabilities. Right. So think of agents as giving your LLM or your AI, like ChatGPT, hands, legs, legs and hands and tools. For example, hammer, nails, screwdriver, eyes, to be able to do things, for you, take action on your behalf, and to be able to reflect on a particular action that it's taken, and to decide whether to stop, to continue, until the objective is met. Right. So this is a really great example. We gave it a paper, right? And then we said, oh, okay, all right. So this is the paper. We want to, broadly identify, drug targets that came with the resource of the paper. And it went ahead, found where, read the paper, right? And found where the data sets, are. And it's trying to, get the data sets, now. It did, some planning, as we could see. This is a document. This is a JSON, file. You could download it, right? It's downloaded, and I'm sure if I go to my downloads, I will be able to find it. I can edit it, and as you can see, we told it to revise one of the objectives, right? So this is very different from Claude AI on the screen, right? Like if we do the same thing here, it will be very challenging because we wouldn't have access to the same tools, the fast systems. Now there are things like sandboxes where they are very small computers that Claude is able to attach to and run its way. But like I'm not sure this sandbox is 1.7 terabytes large, that can accommodate this level of data sets that we are trying to use. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why we need agents. So what sort of agents have been built, right? So Paz was talking about the Code Scientist, the Google Code Scientist. I haven't used it myself, but what we are now trying to use is the Claude Science, right? So it's an agentic framework with tools, with connectors, and so on and so forth. There are also voice agents. So think of you making a call to a company, trying to make an order, right? So I'm sure a lot of hospitals implementing agents for appointments, booking, right? So if you want to book an appointment, there is a voice agents that will pick your call and trying to see the schedule of your, healthcare provider, and asks you of your schedule when you want to come in, what are some, disease presentations you want to discuss with your doctor, and, verify your information, very quickly, and, that's it, right? Um, Also for, admin stuff, just this week, I was trying to create like a voice agent with Brock. No code, just give it your phone number. I mean, you specify what you want to create. For me, I wanted to create something like a personal, agent style do, scheduling. I gave it a phone number that we can call on, and I connected my calendar, and that's it. We may have someone from the fashion industry. I think, this is an arrangement it's probably past. Is thinking of making, to also tell us how they are using agents in the fashion industry. You find a clothing you like, you cannot go to the store physically to try it out, but can you have your measurements and dimensions like, online, and, to see and your photos and see how you look like, if you wear that, right? We've already, spoken about, this already.
That's over. Now.
Okay. So what is an agent is, I think it's a little bit, confusing to like, really say this or that is an agent or not. But, like broadly speaking, you can really classify, agents by, their level of autonomy. Like how much intervention do you like, really need to give the agentic, system to be able to accomplish, tasks. Um, if you could see what we did here was to basically approve and specify permissions, and that's it. Right. So this is more or less like a very autonomous agentic, framework to do scientific, research. So there are other, types of like, specialized, agents. We've spoken about, the voice agents. There are also, browser agents where the role is just, go to your browser, click things and make sure, things work. Maybe book like a flights, appointments, so on and so forth, and that, so on and so forth, right? And then if you really want to build, agents, there are some things you have to, think of. There is the agent, SDK. Oh, sorry. There's the agent SDK by Anthropic. All right, so
Yeah, maybe, but I was like,
so you import, some models, some basically, libraries from Anthropic, SDK, imports, these tools, and then you give it a prompt. I mean, you could actually ask, Claude Code to write this for you, but there's some key things I would want you to know. There is the prompt. What do you want? And you could specify it, with the prompt. And then you could also specify, some options. For example, what are some of the allowed, tools? Okay.
Yeah.
What are some of the allowed tools you want to give, these agents? You wanted to have the ability to read, to edit files, and to run, scripts on your, computer. And you want to run it by using, this command. So this is basically how to build, like a very, simple agent to be able to find bugs in this, Python code. This is a Python script, sorry, called ots.py. And the tools you are given it is to read, edit, and run the code. And you could extend this, right? So you could extend this. Yeah. I think in a globe is to basically, find, things, on your system. So if you do, things, like ls, it's finding, things on your terminal, finding things on the computer, from the terminal. So globe is to find things that you can. So these are some tools you could use. These are the built-in tools read, write, edit, bash, monitor things on the platform, like on the background. So there are some things, running in the background. You want to monitor, you could use the monitor tool. Blob is to, find, patterns, files on your system. Grep is to, search, for things with specific, keywords. For example, search for DNA in a bunch of, files. So grep. Web search is to search, the web for current information. And this is, to pass, like a web, context. I don't really know the difference, between these two. But I think this is generally, it's like how you do, a Google search, right? So you go to Google before in the ChatGPT, you go to Google and say, what are the, latest, papers on, DNA and infectious disease, such as malaria. I think this is what it's doing, web search. And then this is, web fetch, going to a particular website and basically passing information from that particular website. I may be wrong, but I think, this is what it's doing. Ask a question. I haven't really used this, before, but if you use, something called, I think superpowers. Superpowers. If you use, superpowers, you'd see, that sometimes there's like, like a multiple choice, questions. I think I like the multiple choice, questions because you can easily click, right? So you have, let me show you with example, right? So I'm trying to create an agent. Yeah. I'm trying to create an agent to basically, good. So I'm trying to create an agent to extract, data from papers already, published in the data, already published in the papers. And this is, and I told it to, present the information to me one by one so that I can make a decision and explain it to me as if I'm in high school because I don't understand some of the things it's trying to say. It's our typo, but ignore the typo. Don't present more than one question at a time. So this is, I can basically select, this, option A, option B, or option C with the mouse. Right. So if you need, things like this is the, asking questions. Right. So, I hope that, really explains it. So this is the SDK tools, Claude has, one, OpenAI has one. I think, Grok also has, its own, SDK, tools, as well. Now there are also, frameworks, you could also use, in creating, agents, right? So there's something called LangGraph. LangGraph, LangChain. To be honest with you, it was a steep learning curve, trying to, work with, LangGraph and, LangChains. But I think the advantages of, LangGraph and LangChain, which will come to, later, is that it uses, this thing, called, states, uses, graph to be able to, specify, states. And, there are strong, guardrails. You are able to specify very, strong, guardrails. And you could easily switch from like, states. And like instead of being, very, deterministic, you can really move from like, various, options of your, agents, easily compared to, using the Python, files. There's something I also want to discuss with you, levels of the agentic, skill stack. So I think at the fundamental, level, or like, elementary level, being able to read, write, execute, it's a very, basic, function, where it's a very basic, function you want, your agents, to be able to do. And if you're, building agents, I think like this is one of the elementary, stages, right? But if you want sort of like, in my opinion, like, godlike, abilities, like you may want to move, past, read, write, and execute. But you may want to be able to access, databases, using API. And I think someone will talk to you about API in the latter presentations. Browser use as well. There's something called Playwright, MCP. And what, Playwright MCP does is that you install it. There was a Claude scale, and then it could control your browser. This one. There is computer use. All right. So how do you control applications, not just browsing? So how do you control the entire computer? So this can be done, with connectors, and APIs, like sending emails, controlling files in your Google Drive, and so on and so forth. So I think if you want, like, godlike, characters, I think this is what you may want to deliver.
Okay.
All right, so you can create agents on your computer and then, serve it from your computer. Or you could also serve it on, I think on Amazon, Bedrock. I haven't used Amazon Bedrock, before, but, this is one of the areas where you could build, your agents and then have it there and people will be able to access it. You could also use, LangGraph and LangChain to also serve, your agents, for people. True AI, I think it's one of the low code, agentic, platforms that you could use to, create and serve your agents. And then Vercel, I haven't really used, Vercel, but you also have something called the Agents SDK. The beautiful thing I like, about Vercel is that you could host your websites there and you could create websites with, minimal code,
Sorry.
just like maybe Lovable or Replix, and allows you to also host your websites over there. All right. So it's more like a convenience, in my opinion. It's a powerful convenience, in my opinion, right? Not to throw any shit on anyone. So you may ask the question, why are frameworks, useful? Why are frameworks useful? Why don't you want to use maybe just this? And why do you want to use this? So I think I may be mistaken, but I think at some point you could not use the ChatGPT models with the Claude SDK. And I think that's still the case, if I'm not mistaken. Right? Because I think at some point, SpaceX, right? XAI, sorry, XAI, now incorporated into, SpaceX, we're using Claude Code to do some of their developments, and the access, was, cut off, right? So you could create Claude Code actually with this. This is what basically, powers, Claude Code, in addition, to some things, right? So I don't think you could use other, models with the SDK. So if you want the flexibility to use multiple models with your agentic, framework, multiple models with your agentic, system, you may want to use, frameworks that really allows that. I think OpenAI is more open, so you could use their SDK for like any model that you want. So frameworks are model agnostic. So LangGraph, it's one of the famous frameworks that is model agnostic. You can use chat, you could use Claude, you could use Grok, you could use any of the open access models like NVIDIA, Nematron, Llama, so on and so forth. So that's the beauty of it. It's nice, straightforward, auditing. If you want to see what your agents, are doing, you could get like very detailed, logs. That's one of the important features of it. They also provide, the platform where you could do your deployment. So now if you're using, Claude, there is something called the managed agent. Right. Where you could build your agents and then, tell Claude to, host it for you. Right. But then previously, like they didn't have that capability. I think previously it was Amazon and, the top, cloud providers and, LangGraph and, LangChain, the company, allows you to, host the stack. Now, you could enforce, types and, some, guard rules, as well. I was trying to show my supervisor a PowerPoint presentation, and I think I can show it to you also here. All right. So this is what I am talking about. If you ask, ChatGPT, right, extracts the patient's name, date of birth, diagnosis, medications from a hospital discharge, summary, at one point you get something like this, right? The patient name is there. You have the date of birth, in this form, like the diagnosis here and the needs here. At another time, if you have multiple patients, at another time, you may have something like a JSON, file with the name, birthday. See how the date of birth is, very different here. It can be different the next time you run it. But can you make it consistent? Can you make your outputs, very consistent? And the answer is yes. You could use like library called Pydantic. Here you specify what you want and the type of the information that you want to extract and what format it must be in. All right, so here there's a class called medication and just giving the name and the dose. And then for patient's information, I need the patient's name. It should be a string. The date of birth should be a string. But I think, as you could see, I could have specified it more like specifically. Maybe give me the year first, the month, and the day. Or give me the month, the day, and the year. I could have specified it. And then, if you are able to really specify what you want, your outputs are more consistent. Right. So I think, that's one of the, beauties, of using, frameworks. You're able to, like really enforce, some of these things. And you can also, do this, in the, Python, like regular, Python, as well. I haven't really done the comparison, myself, right? But I think, things are changing. The frontier, labs are also like, really working, towards making the assistant, more robust. But I think, for the longest time, these guys, were the champions in terms of, reliability. And that's how they, able to grow, so much when, things were just, in flux, right? Well, models are getting very expensive. So like at some point we may be looking at, like how to really use, open source in your models. Like NVIDIA, Nemotron, the Google Gemma 4, there's even a competition for Google Gemma 4, and so on and so forth. For any demo, we could look at, the practical, discussions. Can AI agents have skills? We've all seen, we all may have seen, skills in one way or the other, which is sort of like a recipe, instruction of how you want your things, to be done. And the answer is, basically, yes. If you could see from here, you are basically reading, writing, and specifying tools. But how you actually work, it's not really incorporated. If you want to really incorporate how you work, you may have to attach, skills to it. You could also create, sub agents. So using, also the options, you could create like, multiple agents, like sub agents. So this is a code reviewer. Then you can have, additional sub agents being controlled by the main, agents here. Yeah. So should I build with, vanilla, Python SDK or framework? It depends. It depends on who you are working for and who you are working with. I think there is a lot of push and interest in using LangGraph, LangChain. As I was saying, it has a very steep, learning curve. The tutorials are not easy. Maybe things have changed, but I don't think it's easy. I find the Claude SDK very straightforward, but I think as there's this push towards like less expensive models, less expensive capable models, and also open access. People would want to use like model agnostic frameworks to be able to build their agents. But I think for now you could look into LangGraph, LangChain, or even use the Claude SDK if the people you work with already rely on Claude SDK, or even the OpenAI SDK, which really allows you to use multiple models. I can tell you a lot about that, but maybe next time. So there is RAG and agents. So retrieval augmented is a generation.
I don't think they.
So what is the difference between this and agents? So agents is basically you have the model, which is the brain, and you give it some tools, which it's basically custom code or custom code in terms of Python functions that does specific things. Think of creating like a function for maybe addition by A, B. Maybe wrong because it's a long time since
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well,
all right, so this is a function. All right, you could call this a two. You define this is a function, you could call it a two. What makes it a two is that it's not just function, it's the function, all right, plus the definition of the function, what it does. And so I think it's got two definition, use cases, maybe examples, and breakpoints. So earlier on, there was an article that says the more tools you have, the the lesser the performance of your agents, right? So you'd want agents with minimal tools, right? So think of tools as this. So what RAG is doing is that you have sort of like a very defined corpus of data, and you want to do grounded retrieval, grounded, like you want to retrieve values that are grounded in your documents. So you could build something called a RAG. Agent is more autonomous. It's able to do the retrieving and really think through and act if it's right or wrong. I think we've seen some agents. There's also something called agent teams. I haven't really used it before, but I think if you are using Claude Code at the terminal, you have access to agent teams, which I think is this, something like that. But I think it's something we could also look into the next time we meet. One thing I want to bring to your attention is the orchestrator. All right, so you could have multiple tools, or the agents could do like to be able to achieve a task. It has to do maybe like multiple things, like read, write, fetch, and so on and so forth. So there has to be sort of like a supervisor, just like how you have Dr. Quatin as your supervisor, not really micromanage. I don't think you micromanage you see, but he's a supervisor, and he's trying to make sure that the objectives of the lab are met, in the sense that you read the appropriate papers you're supposed to read, or you can even go and explore research interests that you may have, and generate, and yeah, I mean, he'll guide you to generate the results to meet a particular objective. So that's what the orchestrator does. Every agent has orchestrator. We've spoken about tools, harness. Think of harness as Claude Code. I don't really know how to explain this to you, but when someone says harness, think of it as Claude Code or codex. Okay. Agents have memory. There's ephemeral, like very like short-term memory and long-term memories. Long-term memories like MD files, maybe files, and maybe databases. So MongoDB, they do like this, like vector, databases where you'll be able to store things, and I think that's a very popular instead of like memory. Oracle is also doing something agentic memory. I think you may want to look at it. MCPs, it's a little bit difficult to explain MCPs with you. If I have further relatable examples, I can show it to you. Skills, we've all seen skills in one way or the other. But yeah, that's it. So let's see. This may be time for questions, but let's see how we also do. So I think it's still trying to download. All right, so now we are 69% downloading. And I think we have exceeded our time also. So. Questions, ideas, contributions.
All right. So, Sam, I think there's a question
Come again?
I think there should be a question. Faustina was asking whether some papers which you are not likely to access them.
Mm-hmm.
He says some papers are not accessible.
Okay.
Others can only provide abstracts. And she's asking, can the AI get access to such papers and retrieve all the information you need? So I think maybe in terms of open access and all those things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, not all papers are publicly accessible. Most papers are closed source. I think there's a push to open access papers now. But Claude also has something called a PubMed connector.
Mm.
But that still doesn't really cut it, right? Because there are a lot of papers that are not publicly available. So in our case,
legally it cannot because of copyright. So basically, it's if the paper is not open, then it's simply you cannot violate a copyright of article. It's a big issue, but a lot of the papers that even the ones that are not open access, they have, especially the computational, put the data is accessible, the GitHub is accessible, so the code is accessible. Maybe the content is not accessible, but like the actual, but if you have the code and you have the data and you have the idea, the Claude Code or all this Claude Science, it's part of this field which is called co-scientist. It's not just Google, it's all the science-based agent. They can they maybe cannot get access to the paper, but they will get access to the data in the code, and they can figure out from the code and in the paper what actually the paper is about. So and can save you some time, but legally it cannot access papers that are not available. Now, also today, a lot of the papers are first published as a preprint. Not all of them, but many of the one that if you click on the journal, they are closed. There is a version of them that is already available as a preprint. So it can integrate all of this and can figure out, it will not have access to the exact paper, but it can start fetch different pieces of information, which can
Okay.
be still very useful.
Thank
You
you.
could ask your friend to download it for you to read it.
A friend in the US.
Yeah, to download for you to read.
Not in the US, in Memorial, in some even I cannot access a lot of publications because my company doesn't have a subscription. So you need people with subscriptions, basically.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes.
Additional questions? Yeah, so
Um,
we are going to do this hackathon. I've seen some people have already registered for it. Even if you don't get in, it's going to happen. We may have to ask Dr. Kwartin permission to dedicate that week purposely for, for hackathon and really stretch our scientific, reasoning capabilities, and so that we could use these new capabilities to do additional work, in my opinion. It's like going for a retreat, scientific retreat or something.
okay, that'd be nice though.
Retreats to work.
Yeah. So I don't know if there are other questions. If we don't,
Any other questions? I would
some
wait for this to finish. So yeah, there are no other questions. Say goodbye.
okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to everyone who joined. We really need people from the CS and engineering department to join, please.
Yeah. We'll reach out to them.
They could join. I think, that'd be great. Let's take a quick, photo. I think we may, I don't know, we may post this on, maybe LinkedIn or something. But
Yeah, you should do it. And
Quite lab. Could you please put your camera on for some time so we could?
And I recommend that you will put the Claude kind of Science, that it will be clear that
Which one?
make it clear that it's Claude Science. So there is a kind of, is there any kind of
Logo?
entry page where you can see Claude Life Science?
Okay.
Okay, I think maybe this one.
No, no. When you, is this Claude Life Science or not?
Or some probably you can browse it. Maybe search Google and see if we can get something on Claude.
The reason I'm saying is that while we are talking, I'm chatting on LinkedIn with the creator of Cloud Science, so it will be cool. Okay, yeah, this can be nice. Or if there is I don't know, something that look like the entry page for Cloud Science. So with the logo Cloud Science.
All right, could you either put on your camera or something?
Yeah, I'll have to.
Lab, I know you are a lot in the room. Just
But Science, Sam, there is no other
like the logo or what? So
yeah, the logo, yeah. But yeah, it's running.
Yeah, I mean, this is fine.
Okay, so go back to the.
We could push this a
I,
bit.
No, there needs to be somewhere. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to be more direct with public relationship thing. So, there is no web page entry web page with Claude Science logo. That's how it's ugly.
The entry.
Yeah, less ugly. There is no. Okay.
This is the entry, and this is showing that we are actually working. We are not doing we
Yeah.
are drinking Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So 1, 2, 3, ready?
Recording in
Okay,
progress.
some people are missing.
yes, some people are missing.
Okay, and maybe we could also.
Can you take the shot again? So please, if you are able to turn on your video, kindly do so. So we take the group picture again.
If you're able to turn
If
on your
you're,
camera, please do it so that we take a quick group picture and then we can go.
yes, please, if you are able to turn on your camera, kindly turn on your camera if you're able to do so.
We need credits. We need Claude code credits.
Lot of credits. Yeah.
Lots of credit. Because now I'm broke. I beg you.
So the credits are called tokens, and we need a lot of. Someone needs to explain you tokens, but it's just the new currency in the world. Tokens. How many tokens you have? So
I think it's more than. Oh, actually, token has a store of value.
yeah,
Yeah, I cook
Yeah.
for you and you give me tokens. Yeah.
exactly. You just need tokens. Okay.
All right, so 5. So I'm counting up to 3, and then we could take the picture. If you're,
Sam, can you stop recording?
yeah, I think I can stop it.
Yeah.